The Windy City has a long and proud tradition of sports. The Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, and White Sox, and since 2001, NASCAR in Chicagoland. Glad you're with us here at the Chicagoland Speedway. Just 54 miles from Wrigley Field. Jeff Hammond, Larry McReynolds, Elliott Sadler, Steve Burns, and some of our closest Windy City friends.
We got a bunch of them out there. Look at them. You know what? It is so hard to believe. I can remember coming here for the first time in 2001.
Can I interrupt you 1 second just before you finish your thought? You don't have any baseballs in your hand, do you?
No, I left them at home after when I'm here last year.
What did you do to that hair?
What is? He said he was going to do it.
Remember last week?
Well, anyhow, before I was rudely interrupted.
No, I said excuse me.
It's hard to believe that I can remember coming in here in 2001 for the first time to this facility here, and it's hard to believe now this is the 9th year that we've been racing here at Chicagoland Speedway. It doesn't seem like it, but what an awesome facility. Could you believe the crowd last night just for qualifying? I mean, that was unbelievable.
Well, we got a ton of short tracks in this area, and it's cool to see those fans come out and support us when we come here for one weekend. But I tell you, I like the night race here. I think last year when they made the decision to come here and race at night, put on a better show, created some grip, we could race more side by side. I think you're going to see the same thing.
The nighttime is the right time. Yeah.
Right. I do like your hair. I just want you to know that. I know you worked hard. And I'm just glad you're a man of your word. You told the man, I will wear it next week in your honor, and you did. And I'm really excited about that. But, you know, you said the right things about the great place to come here as far as Chicagoland is concerned. Just a little while ago, folks, it was raining here. These fans were here. They've now come back out stronger than ever. I mean, again, you cannot say thank you enough to the great fans that we have as far as NASCAR is concerned, as well as Trackside, right? All right.
It's time now to open up our shell garage, and got a couple things to touch on. We want to put a bow on the last lap at Daytona.
It won't be a pretty bow, but it'll be a bow.
And I asked Michael Waltrip this on Monday night. Chad Canals chimed in. Last lap, Tony Stewart, Kyle Busch, how does Elliott Sadler see it? How did you see it? And then a few days later.
Well, I pretty much looked at the review, the replay like everybody else did. When you see the cars coming straight at you now, they're coming to the start-finish line. Tony Stewart's car does not move. Kyle tries to block him low, then he comes back, trying to block him high. I just don't think he knew Tony was that far beside him. I think it's a racing deal. It's nobody's fault. But he just didn't know Tony had that big of a run. He cut across his nose. Tony can't lift. He's winning the race at Daytona.
No, you're exactly right, but you've got to take your hat off, I think, to both of those drivers because with the intensity and how they went at trying to win that race. Kyle Busch, great restart, got position. You know, Tony worked him hard. He put the moves on him, and like you said, I think it surprised a lot of people, including myself, how much when he faked him to the inside, he was able to get to the outside that quickly and get that far up alongside him. And I know that Kyle would not have tried to put the block on him if he'd have realized he'd gotten that much on him that quick.
Well, the good news out of that whole episode is no one got hurt. The bad thing is all of the race cars that got tore up. But I want you to look at the three, not one, but three hard licks that 18 car took. Once again, that says a lot about the integrity of the race car. But for all the naysayers out there that says all of our drivers do is points race, let me tell you something. All those guys had on their mind was winning that race because Kyle Busch, I tell you, I don't come to the racetrack to run second. Second place sucks. I'm here to win the race.
Exactly right.
I tell you what, I think since last year at Talladega, when Regan Smith went below the line and had the win taken away to give it to Tony Stewart, if you look at the next couple Speedway races we've had, last lap Talladega, Red Keselowski, Carl Edwards in defense. We had a rain short in Daytona 500.
God only knows what would have happened there.
Holy cow. And then here to Daytona, and pretty much they're putting it in the driver's hands, and we're coming to the checkered flag. It's records or checkers, baby.
You got it.
Steve, you know what I'm excited about? We're going to get a chance to talk to somebody who is right in the middle of it. Now, I know you were close, but I know somebody that's going to be on the show tonight that was right smack dab in the middle.
He was third on the 18 car.
Exactly. He was part of that contact going on in that final lap. Joey Logano, excited about having that young man.
Would you like to get a word in edgewise?
No, I'm enjoying the conversation. Thanks for inviting me in.
Let's wrap it up and take it to break, Steve.
All right, let's take a look at our Advanced Auto Parts. Who's on tonight? Great show, as Jeff mentioned. Joey Logano will be here, and Michael Waltrip has been in the news. Michael will join us in just a few minutes.
Trackside is presented by new Shell Nitrogen Enriched Gasolines. Brought to you in part by We and by Camping World. At Camping World, our lower prices and friendly service will make you a happy camper.
Michael Waltrip, a two-time winner of the Daytona 500 and one of just two drivers to start over 1,000 races in NASCAR competition, the other being Richard Petty. And please welcome the driver of the number 55 Napa Toyota for Michael Waltrip Racing, Michael Waltrip.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Mikey?
How's everybody?
Good. How about yourself?
Good to see y'all.
Good to see you.
Michael.
To you, Michael likes to throw in big words now on This Week in NASCAR. He'll just slide one in. It's been a tumultuous week for you.
It has, and it's been emotional because I'm changing directions a little bit, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm happy about shoring up our team and having Martin come join us and signing Napa up for years to come. That's all good for our organization. As an owner, that's what I wanted to do. I didn't have to do it. I didn't necessarily need to do it, but I wanted to do it because I wanted our team to be formidable, to be able to line up against the competition and think that for the next few years, our direction is sort of set, and we also can continue to build our young team.
So what is the biggest thing Michael Waltrip's going to do next year? What hat are you going to wear? Is it the sponsor relations stuff? Is it day-to-day working with your driver? What's the biggest thing you're going to do?
Well, I just love being in contact with the men and women on the floor that build our cars. I like coming to the track and seeing what everybody's doing to their race cars, seeing if I can see something on your car, Elliot, that might be a better way to do things on ours. And when you're driving a car, you're so enthralled in what you're doing, you're just focused on your car, you don't really get a chance to look around a whole lot, and I really enjoy that. So I just want to be sort of a liaison from the guy from the racetrack straight back to the floor at the shop, let them know what I see and what maybe we can do differently. We're doing some really good things, building great race cars. Obviously, David and Marcus qualified great last night. And I'm just real proud of our team, but you can always get better. But the improvements we're going to make now, Larry, you know this, we're going to have to just eke it out to make our cars better because we've made so much progress. We got them so good now. It's just going to be those little bitty things. Hopefully I can chime in and help them out with those things.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you led me there because that's where I want to lead you, Michael. I want to commend you because 3 years ago, you didn't even have a screwdriver as far as a Sprint Cup Series operation. And it was a tough ride. But when I look now, 2.5 seasons later, not just the 55 car, but Michael Waltrip Racing, you've got a guy that's won a race, David Ruderman, the only other Toyota besides Joe Gibbs Racing to win one. If you can dot those I's and cross those T's for 8 more races, you can get him in the chase. And then you've got Marcos Ambrose sitting there that in his last 5 races, he has 3 top 10 finishes. That's a long way from 2.5 years ago when Michael Waltrip Racing became a reality.
Well, before we started racing, Larry, everybody thought that I was really smart. And before we started our team, they're like, man, you're doing some wonderful things. And I didn't believe them then. I'm like, we're just going to try this deal out and see how it goes. Then fast forward a year later, they said I was really dumb because it went so bad, and I didn't believe them then either. It's all about a road, going down a road. I didn't lose 462 races at the start of my career and learn how to give up, and I will never give up. I kept my head down. I kept focused. I put my arms around the people that were there with me and said, let's go on this road together, and we'll get there. We've certainly made a lot of progress, but if it weren't for David Rudiman and the job that he does behind the 00 wheel of the Aaron's car, and Marcus driving that 47 car for us like he does, Martin Truex, he wouldn't have wanted to drive for us,
right.
and Napa would have been unsure about their future. So I just owe everything to the folks that have become a part of our team. And you know, I think, Elliott, I have the best two teammates. They're just passionate. They're humble. They're caring. They love their sport. They just want to race cars.
And they're team type of driver.
Oh, it's incredible to have those guys, be surrounded with guys like that.
And you know, it's interesting when you say that, Michael. I look at your team. It's not a team of rookies. I mean, it's a team of rookies, but, I mean, look at the ages of David Rudiman and Marcus Ambrose. They truly understand the meaning of the opportunity that's been afforded them, and that's the reason I think that they are so passionate. They don't take it for granted. They go out there and they go after, and they put it all on the line. It's like you're talking about you want to do.
They're appreciative, and I think a lot of folks, everybody that works there, there was a time in the middle of '07 when people that probably knew as much about it as I do and worked for me would come up to me and say, "What are we going to do?" And I said, "It'll be okay. We'll get through this." And, you know, I had more to risk than probably anyone will ever imagine, but I believed in our business, and I believed in the opportunity that was afforded to me by Toyota, Napa, and Aaron's and our sponsors, and I just believed in my heart. Sometimes blind, just not knowing what's next is the best thing. I just believed in my heart that the opportunities would present themselves for us to survive, and they did.
More with Michael Waltrip coming up. To locate campgrounds near the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, visit GoRVing.com. You'll also find virtual RV tours, a free DVD offer, an RV dealer, and locations in your area. Hey, race fans, make sure your heart is on track. Visit www.cheeriosracing.com, and you'll get great heart-healthy tips and $4 in coupons from Cheerios. Jeff Hammond, Larry McReynolds, Steve Burns, and Elliott Sadler spending time with Michael Waltrip.
Now, Michael, I've stood beside your brother, Daryl, for 9 years, and he is very passionate about what he does, but he's not much into manual labor, but you had him doing a little manual labor last week at Daytona as an honorary pit crew member for the Napa team.
Well, that was so fun. We have a program for all the Napa men and women across the country where they get their name on the car and they get to come and be a part of the team. And I asked DW if he wouldn't mind doing it for me somewhere, and he volunteered for Daytona. I tell you, Larry, he transitioned quickly from the manual labor idea and went right up on the pit box.
He took a managerial role right off the bat, didn't he?
He went right up on the pit box and set my booty and said, "Can you hear me, Mike? Come in." Am I clear? Clear. And I said, please do boogity, boogity, boogity for me as I come to the green. It'll just get me in that mood I want to be in. So
did he do it?
He did it, and he was so fun because I was running along, you know, and I come on the radio. I said, this thing is pushing, and it's silence for a minute. And he comes on the radio and says, Mike, I need to know where that thing's pushing. Is it pushing inner? Is it pushing in the middle? Or break it down for me. Like I'm 3 wide in the middle of turn 4, and he's going. And I'll tell y'all a quick story. It reminded me of when I won Dover in his car. Like my 3rd nationwide race ever back in '88, I won Dover, and it was the coolest thing ever because it's only the 2nd time I'd ever driven for him. He comes on the radio with about 20 to go, and I'm behind Tommy Ellis for a restart under caution. He starts saying, Mike, it's all right there for you. The opportunity is laying right in front of you. All you have to do is get on the inside of that boy. He won't know what you're doing. He will be afraid. And so I just reach over there and gently turn the radio off. And I don't know what else he said, but
He probably talked you through that whole 20 laps.
I couldn't handle it, man. He was making me crazy. But
Hey, Mike, welcome to my world.
what I love about my brother is he's always been my hero, and he's never let me down. He's always been a guy that I've looked up to, and he's always been there for me. And I'm glad you've gotten to know him over the last 9 years because the last 9 years we've probably got to know each other better than we ever had before.
Michael, you sent me a text message before the race started at Sonoma, and I had to look at it twice. You said, this is the first time I haven't been at a racetrack on Sunday since 1985.
Yeah.
You put Patrick Carpentier in the car. What was it like for you to be at home and watch the race? Did you miss it? And I guess what I'm really asking, Michael, had you already made up your mind before that to run a reduced schedule next year?
I had. When I left Daytona, you know, we qualified or finished 7th in the 500, went to the next few races and ran really well. And I told everybody at Daytona, if I don't do the job I want to do behind the wheel of my own car, somebody else is going to drive it. By the time we got to April or so, I wasn't happy with my progress. I wasn't happy. I still think I can drive as good as anybody, and I'm still passionate about driving a car, and I want to drive a car, but the circumstances, the situation wasn't right for me at that point. Wanted Patrick to drive it there, knowing that we're gonna announce Martin was gonna drive it next year. So I think, you know, I won the All-Star race in '96, and me and Bill Elliott, we've been racing together ever since then, and he qualified top 10 last night.
By far the fastest Ford.
It makes me crazy, Larry. It makes me say, well, I could do that. But then I think Daryl says that too. He'll sit around and say, I could do that. And I haven't been able to do it on a consistent enough basis to make me happy. I hate getting passed. And so I'm not going to sign up to race another year with in my brain thinking, if these guys keep passing me, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because you know as well as I do, it's a very hard job, and you have to have you have to be mentally solid, mentally tough to tackle it. And I know Martin Truex Jr. is mentally ready to get in that Napa car, and that's my main passion, is to get that Napa car up front every week.
Well, we've been talking about Daryl, and I want to kind of keep it on the family thing. I see you have so much fun with your two girls at the racetrack. Will this help with that and be able to spend more time with them and be more of a dad with them?
Oh, it's so fun having those girls around. And Macy, I told her ever since she was about 4 I was going to build her a playhouse, and they dropped it. This is cool. A 40-foot cargo container. I dropped it in my backyard the other day and buried it, and I took a picture of it, and I said, your playhouse is in place. Now we just got to finish her up. So she loves to ride horses. She's real passionate about her schoolwork, and Caitlin's transitioning from high school to college, and so it's just fun, and I'm happy that I get. You ask about the Sunday of the race in Sonoma. I sat on the couch, and the thing that was weird, the darn race didn't start till 5 in the afternoon. You know, I wanted to get up on Sunday morning, goof around, and then watch a race like normal. And I got all ready at noon, and there was 5 hours to go before the race started. So it was a strange day, but it felt good. I was on the text to Frankie Kerr and the guys in Sonoma, telling them things I saw and what I thought, and they were nice enough to acknowledge me and act like they were listening anyway.
Oh, they didn't turn you off?
No, they didn't. They kept me plugged in. I told Frankie, like on lap 10 or 12, he made that pit stop. I said, great call. When you start last, if you do what the leaders do, you're probably going to finish last. Yeah. So they mixed it up right away and got on a really good page, and that was fun for me. You had a great run out there,
Thank
too.
you. Yep.
Were you Twittering from home?
I was Twittering /MW55. Come on. That was my Kenny Wallace impression.
Come on.
Did you ever do that?
That's it. All right, Thursday is the premiere of Big Block Thursday on Speed. 3 big hours of races, chases, and crashes, with picks all out at 8, jacked at 9, and wrecked at 10. Got plans for Thursday night? You do now. Big Block Thursday, 8 Eastern. Earlier this week, Michael Waltrip, at his race shop in North Carolina, announced that Martin Truex Jr. would be joining the fold, and now he joins Trackside Live.
Right.
What's up, guys?
What are you up to? How are you doing?
How are you, fellas?
Yeah.
What's up, Martin?
Everybody?
What's up, Martin?
Elliot?
How you doing, sir?
Driver?
Great. Had a great week.
You have had a good week.
Yeah, it's
Anything going on?
It's been awesome. Yeah, just a little. We got to qualify yesterday. We had a little announcement me and Michael did back earlier in the week, so it was all good.
Hey, what's the deal with the 56 number? I mean, I know I've seen you run some Busch North races, whatever. Where did that number come from?
You know, that's always been my number. Since I was 11, I started racing go-karts. That was the number I ran. So it's always kind of been in our family. My dad ran it on his modified for years back a long time ago. So it's always been my number on everything, and it's cool that Michael and everybody at MWR and everybody at Napa were gracious enough to let us put that on the car. I think it's going to be really neat for me and all my fans.
Well, speaking of something that's going to be kind of neat, I don't know if you know this or not, but Michael is probably one of the fittest guys in the garage. He's got a trainer. Now, that's right. Michael has a one-pack. Well, I have a six-pack. You got a one-pack. But he's got this trainer.
Really sad, too. I mean, I've been working my butt off, and I got one pack.
Yeah. But
most people's packs come all the way up in here. I got one right there.
Right there.
But her name is Jo. Now, and she's from Italy. And I was talking to her the other day, and I saw her. I said, "Are you going to be training Michael, during his rest of the year and everything like that? And how about Martin?" And she started grinning when I said, man,
Yeah,
Martin.
she can't wait to get her hands on him.
I'm thinking right now, I think she believes she's got some fresh meat. She's getting ready to get
I
on
don't know.
it.
We'll see.
Where are you out?
We'll see about that.
I want to see you in the gym. I mean, this guy's in the gym. He's a workout animal.
She's crazy, man. Though she doesn't understand English real good. So when you say that's it, you know, I'm done. She's like, no, go.
Hey, she was telling me, said,
Go.
Michael comes in sometimes and says, you need to stretch me a little more this morning.
Martin, she told me, American men too fat. They drink the beer.
That's about right.
Martin, a couple of weeks ago at Loudon, saw a little fire in old Martin. But I've got to believe as I watched that it was probably more because of what a great race car you had. That may have been the best race car that you've had all year. But, Michael, I got to ask you, what is it about Loudon that makes people want to throw their helmet? You've been a part of that receiving end.
Yeah, I don't know what was wrong with that guy that day. Martin looks like he's gearing up to maybe give his a heat too.
Well, he thought twice about it.
I almost did it.
But you had a great race car up there.
We did. You know, it's been a tough season, and you know, things like that has just really made it a lot harder. You know, we've had some good runs, we've had some good cars, and it's like, doesn't matter where we run. You know, we run 5th, we run 10th. It seems like we finished in the 20s. It's like, it's just been really, really frustrating. And I thought we really had a shot that day. Our car was really fast on short runs. We could make up 2 or 3 spots in every restart, no matter whether we were outside or the inside. So, you know, Loudon special to me. I felt like we had a chance, and it just got taken away from me.
On a restart.
And then, rewind to the day before when your little brother is leading on the last lap and he gets knocked out of the way. It's just a tough weekend for you guys.
It was, you know, but you know, we put a lot into that race. That's a special place for us, you know, with my dad winning there and me winning there, and then, you know, like Michael said, we were watching my brother race, and it's amazing to watch him race, you know, with the little experience he has, that, you know, to be able to go out there and contend for wins already. But just overall, it was a tough weekend, and that was just a tough way for me to end it.
Martin, I like when Michael talks about passion for this sport and relationships. And I can remember when you first showed up, being at Darlington, and we were televising the race. And I remember you saying during the race, man, I don't get it. Don't know what I'm doing. Kevin Mannion, your crew chief, said, it's all right. You're running a good line. Here's the other guys doing it. I guess my point is, I saw your comments. You said he's been like a brother to you. And you may not be able to answer the question, but would you like for him to go to Michael Waltrip Racing?
I would, yeah. I mean, we'll just have to see if we can, you know, what we can work out. You know, there's some other things that go into, you know, him going with me. But you know, we'll have to see it. You know, either way, like I say, it's been a great relationship. He's a great friend of mine. I have a lot of respect for him, and always will, no matter what happens. But you know, obviously, I would really like to be able to work that out. But we'll just have to see if we can make it happen.
I think, you know, since you've been at Earnhardt Racing, there seemed like there's been something going on every year, whether Dale Jr. was leaving or staying, whether Teresa, they're merging or they're not merging, anything like that. How refreshing do you think it's going to feel to when you go to MWR that everything is set in place and it's a clean slate? Well, all you have to do, you don't have to worry about anything but driving and being fast. I mean, what kind of relief is it you think that's going to be?
You know, I feel like it's going to be awesome, and that's one of the things I'm already excited about and looking forward to. You know, I can just go in there and not have to worry about anything, you know. We got a long-term deal signed. I don't have to worry about talking about contracts or any of that. We got a sponsor for, you know, long-term, and just go in there and concentrate on doing the best job I can do, you know, helping Michael and his team get better. They obviously are, you know, rising to the occasion. I feel like we're just starting to see what they can do. It's been exciting for me to watch as a fan, and to be part of that. You know, I'm really excited, really looking forward to it. I can just focus on racing like I always used to do, and go out and have some fun again.
One cool thing that Martin said to me the other day is he said, these people love working here. And that's my favorite part about MWR. It's like we're all in this together, and we are pulling in the same, everybody's on the same page and going forward. And I know when I signed up to drive for Dale, that was the greatest feeling in the whole world. We had a leader, and we knew where we were going. And I always admired that about Dale, and always wanted to have the same type of feeling at my team. And so I appreciate you saying that, Martin, and I really feel good about our direction. And Dale's a big part of, you know, now Martin's just another piece of the puzzle that kind of come from the Dale heritage, and he's always with me, and I think a lot about him as I make my decisions.
I think Dale would be very proud of what you've accomplished, Michael.
Yep.
Well, in addition to being a race car driver, team owner, Michael Waltrip is in fact a trained broadcast professional. When we come back, he and Martin Truex Jr. will head to the Lazy Boy Lounge that he's working. Trackside Live back at the Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois. Time now to go to the Lazy Boy Lounge and Michael Waltrip back.
You know, we made our announcement last Tuesday, and everybody got to see the glitz and the polish that Tuesday was, and it felt great. All the teams lined up, clapping and cheering you on and bringing you in. Mr. Sousa from Napa, those folks being there. But a whole lot went into the process of having that big announcement last Tuesday. Walk me through a little bit, or the folks at home through a little bit of the initial conversations. I know you're friends with Ty, and Ty's been around the whole MWR, DEI thing forever. How did it all get started?
You know, I think it all started a lot longer than most people remember, or most people think. Ty kind of put a word in my dad's ear, actually, that, you know, you had mentioned, you know, what you told the folks at home and these guys earlier was that, you know, if things didn't go the way you wanted, you were going to, you know, look at putting something in your race car. And Ty had told my dad that, you know, back around Daytona. And so, you know, we kind of had that bug in our ear, and we kind of were watching what you were doing, paying attention, and you know, because obviously we knew we had a contract year coming up, and that's kind of how it all got started. And from there, it just continually escalated. And the more I watched, the more I talked to Ty and everybody, the more excited I got about the opportunity. And then finally, you know, he said, "Yeah, well, we're going to do it. You know, if you want it, it's here for you."
Right.
So I got really excited about it, and that's when we really started getting serious about it.
You made a little trip to Atlanta to meet the folks from Napa, and you told them a story about your younger days. You had an old Jeep that always would break down on you, and you went to Napa store up in New Jersey, met Nicky Napa, and he would give you whatever you needed for that truck. So you got some Napa heritage. That's important to me. I want to make sure you're a good Napa guy.
Yeah, you know, I used to have a lot of part numbers memorized when I was working on my race cars. I had, you know, all the parts I needed for my modified and the stuff I'd always get at Napa. I kind of had a, you know, a schedule of things, but. Yeah, I mean, I've always been a Napa customer. We've always been, you know, that was our local auto parts store was in Napa. So, you know, that kind of hits close to home. And, you know, so far the Napa folks have been great. You know, I couldn't believe when we went up there and met them, you know, how cool they were. It was just like me and you sitting here talking right now. They were really cool, really interesting. And we got to talk, and I told them what I thought, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, let's do this." You know, it's like, just like that. They were, you know, I was part of the family. So.
Well,
it's all been really cool.
You mentioned family. I'm a part of the Napa family, obviously. My family's been in racing ever since I've been on this earth, and it's the same for you. Watching your father race and you becoming a racer, now your brother comes along. That's just special, isn't it, when everybody gets to participate in what you love so much?
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, we all have to thank our dad for that, you know, because he's the one who got us started. But it's been really neat to go to the racetrack with my dad for all these years, and now watching my brother race and watching, you know, the relationship of my dad and him. It was kind of the same way with us, and I get to watch that now and kind of see how it all works. And we've learned a lot from him. He's a lot of fun. He's helped me tremendously through the years, still does to this day. And to watch my brother race, it's just one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Now, y'all are clam boat guys.
Yeah.
Did you do any of that growing up?
I did it long enough to figure that I better get good at something else. So.
Well, what is it like? What's a day like, or a day in the life of a clammer like?
Well, you know, normally you get up about 2, 3 in the morning, drive to Atlantic City, which is about 30, 40 minutes from where I grew up. You get on the boat, you head out in the ocean, sometimes 3-hour trips, sometimes a little bit more, and you go out there and you work, you know, just 24 hours straight or whatever it takes to catch your quota. So, which is, you know, however many cages of clams you're out there to catch. So you could be out there for days and you won't even know it.
That is wild, Steve. Get on a boat and go 3 hours out to find some clams?
Yeah.
They should do the deadliest catch for clam fishermen.
Yeah. I've been in some nasty weather, I can tell you that, and it's no fun.
Well, I grew up, my dad was a Pepsi man, and I can't even look at a Pepsi no more.
Oh, my goodness.
Because I had to work and load those cases and do all that hard work. I'm like Martin. I needed to find me a job where I could sit down. I think I might have found it. What are y'all doing next year?
Over there, buddy. All right, thanks to Michael Waltrip and Martin Truex Jr. More Trackside Live coming up. Want to remind you about the trucks here on Speed. July 18th, 6:30 Eastern here on Speed. NASCAR Camping World Truck Series back in action. Welcome back to Trackside Live at the Chicagoland Speedway. Glad you're with us. Just want to give you an update. Joey Logano was scheduled to be here. In fact, he was actually here for a few minutes, but we had heavy rain here earlier this morning. He had to get back down inside the racetrack and qualify his Nationwide Series car. So just one of those hectic, crazy days here at Chicagoland. We'll certainly have Joey back on in the not-too-distant future. So meanwhile, we're back with Jeff Hammond.
We can have a little round table.
We're going to have a little round table,
yeah.
Sadler.
What do you want to talk about? I'll tell you what's a neat thing to talk about. Mark Martin, 3 wins, might not make the chase. David Ruderman will win, might not make the chase. And Casey Kane right now is 12th, right on the bubble with the. I mean, this Kyle Busch 3 wins, not safe by no means. I think this is the closest it's ever been with this many teams this late in the season.
Yeah, I mean, this right here happened to Mark Martin early in the race, and he was not able to return and ended up finishing, I think, where did Mark end up actually finishing? They ended up finishing 38th at Daytona. So, yeah, not the kind of Daytona he wanted to have.
Well, does that mean the point system is right? If you got a guy with 3 wins that doesn't make the chase, how does that, you think it's?
I like the point system right now. I like the fact of them giving the bonus points for the wins. You know, when you look how important that win was to Tony Stewart the other night, what was more important about it than anything? 10 more bonus points to start the chase. Right now, Kyle Busch would be the top seeded as far as the number of wins, but right here, this is what's interesting. You know, when you look at Denny Hamlin through Casey Kane, it doesn't matter how far behind they are to Tony Stewart. What matters is how far in front of Mark Martin, David Ruderman, Jeff Burton, those guys outside the top 12, how far they're in front of them.
No, and what I see here, you know, you ask about the point scenario, at least to me, these guys are going for it, Elliott. I mean, they've got to go for it. I mean, they have to get up on the wheel and make it happen each and every week. And even though they win, you know, they have got to put some consistency with it. I think a true champion not only wins races, but he's also a guy who's there week in and week out. And you've got to get your program on track to be able to do that. Because if you go back and look, Richard Petty, when he won his championships, Dale Earnhardt when he won his championships, they got wins, but they were there week in and week out, and that's part of the program. And I think the way that we've got the point structure right now, it's about as good of a system as we've had in recent years, and I think it also shows the frailty and the competitiveness of this 2009 season.
When they first announced the chase format, well, in fact, Larry had, I think, the best comment. He said that he thought some coconuts had fallen off a tree and hit the executives in Daytona, but I thought it was kind of hokey, but I love the format the way it is now because, you know, you see Tony has a huge points lead, but after Richmond, each driver gets 5,000 points and then 10 points per win. So if you have a favorite driver in the chase, it's just like any other sport. If you get hot at the right time of the year, if you're a fan, you've got hope that your guy can win the championship.
One thing our sport has always done is try to take care of the fans, and I think that's the one thing that this point system does. When we go to the last 3 or 4 races of the year, when we're at Phoenix and when we're at Homestead, Atlanta, and places like that, with the old system, the champion had already been crowned, so we're not really putting on a really great race for those fans, and we want to be fair to them in that area. So now with the chase, you don't know who's the champion to the last lap at Homestead, and I think that brings a lot more excitement to the race, especially in those areas when we go late in the season.
Well, what I like right now, we still have 8 races to go. We have got a lot of racing until we get to that first chase race at Loudon. But if you go back to the chase last year, we only had 3 manufacturers in there. We had Ford, we had Chevrolet, and we had Toyota. Dodge did not even have a player. And you only had 4 operations that was represented there. You had Joe Gibbs Racing, you had Roush Fenway, you had Hendrick, and you had Richard Childress. Right now, with 8 races to go, we have every make that's represented. You've got Kurt Busch that looks like he's in pretty good shape in a Dodge. Of course, we've got Chevrolets, we've got Toyotas, we've got Fords, and we have 7 different operations represented. And I'm very biased. I do not pull for anybody, but I just think it would be very cool for our sport if Juan Pablo Montoya in that 42 car can make this chase. Because you know what? He's earning his right to be in there. He's consistent right now with top 10 finishes. I think it'd be great to see him make it.
And the cool thing about it is talking to Brian Patty, the crew chief on this car, and they keep asking Juan Pablo, what do you think? What are you trying to get accomplished here? One race at a time. They've got a battle plan. They know what they need to do. Big picture racing. They need to finish 12th or better every one of these events, final 8 going into Richmond, and that should secure them a place in the chase. And it's like Brian said, once we get there, then we can do some things a little different. We have to race smart right now, and I think we're seeing these 2 guys execute flawlessly right now as far as that 42 car is concerned.
I agree with you, and I really appreciate you asking me about what insignia was on my shirt just then, Jeff. I really appreciate you asking me that. And actually, we're running a cool special paint scheme this week. A lime green car, insignia.
Lime green?
It is lime green, man. It is bright.
You got voices in your head.
You know, that's not what he called it. But I think it's lime green.
What'd you call it?
I didn't know. I didn't
Yes,
call it
you did.
anything.
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
Don't make fun of the car. It's bright.
I didn't.
You can see it real good. Look at that. Look at that green car right there. Look how bright it is.
I think we called it pea green.
Insignia is a great product at Best Buy. It's a very affordable product. It makes all kind of TVs and things like that you can go into and just get good deals on. So, and this is the first time Insignia has been on the car for their kind of kick off their weekend. They brought 19-inch Insignia TVs for all you guys.
Very
Wow.
nice.
Free gifts for you guys. I told them, hey, if we're on Trackside, we got to give away gifts.
Hey, 19 inches, 19 for the 19.
I think we
tell
can
you.
use
I
those
like
for
that.
monitors
I
in the
like
booth.
that.
How about this?
I know
It's great.
exactly where mine's going. To the booth as a scoring monitor.
There you have it.
I thought it was
went to
going to
Best
your
Buy
office,
the
the
other day.
bathroom.
Did you? Good.
Thank you to the folks at Best Buy and Insignia. I bought some Wii games for my son. Best Buy.
Perfect.
Cool store.
Awesome store. I love it. We did a deal there this morning. I got to goof around and play a little bit with the video games. And, man, just a great sponsor. They've been neat to me, but this is the first time Insignia has been on the racetrack. Really want to kind of make a footprint in NASCAR racing, and hopefully we'll be able to do a good job for them here in Chicago.
By the way, congratulations on your run at Daytona. The last 4 races, 3 top 12 finishes, starting to make a little
We're starting
noise.
to turn it around a little bit.
Turning it around.
Thank you for the gifts.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And we're going to trade one Sadler for another. We're going to the Sadler bullpen. Up next, Hermes Sadler joins us.
I'm glad you're not number 1.
That small TV. Look at it.
Back at the Chicagoland Speedway, it is time now for our Inside Sprint Cup mobile feature. This week we check out the sights and sounds from last weekend's last lap shootout from the World Center of Racing.
Radio check 1 2. 10-4, got you. Check 1 2. I got you there. You got me okay? Got a copy. 10-4.
We'll see a lot of friendships established this evening as drivers find drafting partners to work with, but as we get down to the late laps, friendship can be very, very fickle here at Daytona.
You can plan all you want to. Doesn't mean one cotton-picking thing when it comes down to that checkered flag.
All right, bud. Welcome to a nice, hot, sticky night in Daytona. You just let us know how that car is reacting all night. Try to stay on top of it. You'll be able to have it your way at the end of the night.
Green flag goes in the air, and we are underway.
At the front of the pack, it's on for the lead. Tony Stewart to the outside.
Keep doing what you're doing there, bud. Got a little bit of blading on the right rear. All I heard really was keep doing what I'm doing. That's good enough for me right now.
All of a sudden now, Kyle Busch has got his hands full.
Reagan gets it to the back of him.
What a dumb. All you had to do is just stay in line. Just help a brother out and be cool. No, let's all race.
Trouble breaks out. David Rudeman, Dale Earnhardt Jr. We're going to wad up a dozen of them.
Here they come back to the trioval. The green flag goes up in the air.
Tony Stewart looks back, sees Kyle Busch poised in position and ready to pounce. Here comes Kyle Busch going for the lead here on the white flag.
I am the leader. Woo, woo.
Kyle Busch has got the lead, but he hasn't got the win yet. Tony Stewart is there.
Tony looks to make the move. He swings to the high side. Kyle Busch. Tony Stewart is going to win the Coke Zero 400. A spectacular move, but you knew it was going to be something like that.
Get out, Cole. Yes, 10-4, Kenny. He got out. He's walked. Did an awesome job there, Tony. Big crew, everybody. Awesome, awesome, awesome job. Well, that's not the way I wanted to do it. Who turned Kyle? Not even sure, Kirk. Not even sure. He's all right.
Kyle's out of the car and welcome.
We talked about fireworks and a spectacular finish to the Coke Zero 400, and you just had one. Tony Stewart has won.
35th win for Tony Stewart in a great career.
You know, it is amazing at Daytona or Talladega. When you think about every wreck we have there, it's all about 2 cars getting together. But because they're always running in those big packs, remember we had a caution and a restart with about 4 laps to go at Daytona. It never fails, just like the wreck at lap 76 on the backstretch. 2 cars get together, 10 or 12 cars end up getting tore up.
All I can tell you is that when you sit there and listen to what was going on there that night, it definitely gives you a new appreciation about road rage when it comes to driving stock cars, especially at places like Talladega as well as Daytona. For some reason, it gets on your nerves. It grinds on you the way you have to race there. And before it's all said and done, somebody's mad.
Pretty much.
Well, we had Kyle Busch and Tony Stewart at Daytona. Not to be outdone, backstage here outside the Chicagoland track, Hermie Sadler and Rutledge Wood.
Can we get everybody out there to clap it out for Hermie Sadler? What a treat to have you on the show, my friend.
Taking the place of Joey Logano, but the problem is that my belts are too tight and I can't touch the pedals.
Well, that's okay. 2 years ago, he didn't have a license, so I think we'll be okay. We had planned to play a little NASCAR kart, and I've been practicing a lot, Hermie, and instead, I'm sad that I'm going to have to beat you. But I realized that, like, when I was
I can't race on dirt.
Playing video games, you were actually playing real racing games in the car. How old were you when you started?
About 7 years old on go-karts, but that was a long time ago, Rudd, as you know.
That was what, the 60s?
That was in the late 50s.
Hey, Hermie, don't let him intimidate you. Focus on the race car.
Focus. He's trying to get you off your game.
Now, Steve, you're not pulling for me. I hear Larry over there.
I'm catching the glare off that pink watch he's got on.
That's important. Do you play a lot of video games with the kids at home?
We play Barbie, Bow Wow Wubsy, and all that.
Hermie, take him out.
This is really, I'll be honest, this is some of the best.
Don't take nothing off of him. Put him out of there.
How did you get to third?
Well, that's how we roll in Virginia.
You said you'd never played before.
I haven't.
Well, it's working, apparently. I was going to have Hammond
Look,
back
this is
here.
like my golf game.
Hey, Rutledge, you only got one more corner. Checkers or wreckers, baby. Okay, I'm coming after it. Someone hand me a trophy so I can smash it. Do they have trophies in Wii? Maybe I'll get lunch.
Slingshot, how'd you do that?
No, we don't.
Remember, Rutledge, there's 42 losers. Second place doesn't count.
It sucks.
We'll be right back. Stay with us here on Speed.
In your face, Hermie!
Trackside is presented by new Shell Nitrogen and Rich Gasolines. Brought to you in part by Go RVing. Go affordably. Go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com to get started on your road trip adventure. And by Cheerios. Visit CheeriosRacing.com and you'll get great heart-healthy tips and $4 in coupons from Cheerios.
2 weeks from now, we'll be at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Brickyard. Our guests include Greg Biffle and Juan Pablo Montoya.
So, Stevie, what are you going to be doing for the weekend off?
Not much. I'm going to do not much and have a good time doing it.
I guarantee you this guy's going racing somewhere.
I am. I'm going to try to spend a little bit of time with Linda, my two daughters, Brooke and Kendall, but there's no question next weekend it'll be UARA late model racing up at Tri-County with Brandon. We're halfway through his season, 8 down and 8 to go.
Hudson, North Carolina.
That's it. But you know, something we didn't discuss with any of our guests was qualifying that we had last night. We talked about the Toyotas just a little bit. I think we got 6 Toyotas up in the top 10. And Roush Fenway, Jeff, you mentioned it yesterday, this is one of only 2 tracks, plus Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Roush Fenway has never won a race. Their top qualifier was David Reagan, 17th. A lot of their big guns starting way back in the pack.
And this upcoming final practices, they got 2 opportunities if the weather holds out right now for them to get those cars better for tomorrow night. So, I mean, they got a lot of work to do, but, you know, how about the Red Bull guys? I mean, Toyota was strong, but Brian Vickers and Scott Speed,
they were their own zip.
They were out of here.
They start 1-2, and it's the first time in that team's existence that 2 Red Bull cars have started in the top 5, much less 1-2.
And we talked about it after qualifying. You've got those 2 guys battling, but battling for separate things. Brian Vickers still has an outside shot at making the chase. Scott Speed in that 82 car, they're trying their best to get in the top 35 in points.
5 poles, right, for the Brian Vickers this week. I mean, this year, he needs to close the deal. He needs to turn those 5 poles in to at least 1 win.
And you talked about, you know, Indianapolis in 2 weeks. Just think about how critical being in the top 35 going to Indianapolis would be. It would lock you into one of the biggest races of the year.
Big payday, too.
You better believe it.
And for the first time in a long time, we saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. smile yesterday.
Hey, it's been a while.
Hermie doesn't like, oh no, there's trouble backstage. Trouble.
Hit him harder.